Welcome back, YouTube. It is the Drunk Capitalist here again. Today we're going to be talking about lifestyle creep. Now, I know a few other YouTubers have probably covered this phrase, but today we have a real life story of Kay, who has been subject to lifestyle creep. Of course, it's of her own doing, because if you know anything about lifestyle creep, it's a personal phenomena. It's what happens when you don't know how to manage yourself, your money, your impulses, and you kind of just end up in a situation where you may be wiped out. So with lifestyle creep, again, I said it's a phenomena. If you don't really know how to manage things, it's very likely that no matter how much money you get, you're going to lose it all. It's happened many times. There's a reason why lottery winners end up broke in a few short years, because if you never learned how to manage money when you were actually broke, then you're not going to be able to just suddenly magically know how to manage your money when you have it, right? That's just how it is. So it's important to have financial literacy early on, especially when you don't have as much money, and learn how to live off of less, so that when you do get more, you can actually do better things with that money. Because lifestyle creep is something that some people survive it because nothing bad happens, but most people don't, because they're not prepared for an emergency. A lot of times people that end up in lifestyle creep, they end up going into the dark depths of it, and they end up in another phenomena called living paycheck to paycheck. Paycheck to paycheck is not just referring to people that are poor. There are people that make over six figures that are paycheck to paycheck. And a lot of that has to do with lifestyle creep. So you have to learn how to curb that urge to inflate your lifestyle with random money that comes in. Sometimes it's a salary, so you got a salary raise. Sometimes you get a bonus. Sometimes you hit the lottery. Sometimes you gambled and somehow won. You beat the house. Whatever the case may be, you have to have a plan for that money so that you aren't adversely affected by the money itself. The gift of the money is not going to become a burden later on. So let's get right into this video with Kay, and we're going to find out what happened in her story.
If it's one thing that I've learned in my moving process of moving out of my home, moving back in with my parents, do not get an apartment to match the new cute salary. Do not get an apartment because you got a job raise. Do not buy that new car because you got a bonus. Do not do that. I was still living paycheck to paycheck, making $60K a year. That makes no sense within this little ass apartment.
It makes
sense.
So
what I'm telling you is, do not feel like you have to upgrade your lifestyle because you got that bonus, that new job, that salary increase. None of that. It makes no sense in the long run.
So there you have it. She said it. That basically she has found herself paying way too much money, and she feels like it makes no sense to be making $60,000 a year and living paycheck to paycheck. It's true in some sense, but it actually does make sense that you're living paycheck to paycheck if you're putting yourself in a situation where you would be living paycheck to paycheck. Now, I haven't been on this earth very long, but one thing I realized is that there are a plethora, in fact, I would say a majority of people on earth that like to learn their lessons the hard way. Like, they don't want to learn from other people. So she's gonna say this, right? On TikTok, and there's gonna be a bunch of people that are still gonna do the exact same thing anyway. She hasn't learned the lesson. I don't know who her parents are, or why they haven't spoken to her, but I don't know. I used to watch a lot of Dave Ramsey things, and I used to be like, hey, look, listen, I'm gonna save up 6 months worth of expenses before I do anything, before I change my lifestyle. You have to actually hedge against yourself with your lifestyle, because if your paycheck is dependent on a company doing well, as soon as they're not doing well, you may not have a paycheck to come by. So you can't really inflate your life too crazy or over reward yourself because of a new job or a bonus or anything like that. because you have to protect yourself. So let's get deeper into her story. So you heard it from the horse's mouth. Don't do this thing just because you got a new fancy paycheck. Don't overspend. Don't inflate your lifestyle. So we find out that she pays $1,665 for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. I'm not sure where she lives, but she's paying a lot of money. In all actuality, $1,665 for what is it? 6 months. In order to actually be secure, she would have to save $10,000 just for rent alone to go into her emergency savings. That's a lot of money. But if she was previously living with roommates or whatever, her parents, whatever, that's something you have to save before you move in. You could try to take the risk and try to save up half of that for 3 months and then try to save up more while you're living there. But then you also have to make sure that you're not spending on other, frivolous things in order to get to that 6 months. So here's her full story. She writes, God said to let go what doesn't serve you. So February 2023, she left her apartment. So yeah, she's telling the story of what actually happened to her, and I am basically reviewing this so that people could, learn from this and take caution and take heed, take note of the type of situation that can occur when you don't really plan things out and try to protect yourself. Because granted, you can't predict everything, but what you can do is take control, take responsibility, and actually try to find ways to mitigate the damage and not end up in a complete disaster. So we're gonna start from here. Landed my dream job in 2022. You can see she got her congratulations, you've been accepted to this job thing. Saw this cute apartment and made it my screensaver to manifest it in February 2022. If there's one word I do not enjoy reading, it's manifest. I'm sick of the word. It makes me want to throw up. To me, it's just a weird word. It's overused, and to me, it just means that you don't want to actually put much effort. So you say, manifest. Whatever that means. Was approved for the cute apartment in February. Mind you, she got the job in January. And now she's moved. Now that she has a job that pays more, she's moving into a new apartment immediately. Didn't save for much, probably doesn't have any furniture, so she has to pay for that. You have to account for all of these things, all of the expenses before you make your move. It's chess, not checkers. Moved in March 2022. She's showing a stocked fridge, so she did that grocery shopping. Sometimes you move and you want to start a whole new lifestyle, it's a lot. Started getting stressed at work and starting going out March 2022. So she got the job in January, and by March she was already stressed about the job. Okay. So work started to send me to a breaking point. So now she's extremely frustrated, but it looks like she mostly works from home, maybe, or spends some time working at home. Another employee was upset I didn't kiss her ASS, so management started siding with her April 2022. That sentence doesn't really make sense, but that's not what we're here for. She's saying that she had a situation with another employee and that her management took the side of the other employee and I guess was treating her badly and, creating more headaches for her at her job. This is something you also have to account for. It is what it is. Not enjoying your workplace is something you have to account for. Started having performance meetings out of the blue in April 2022. Well, it's not really out of the blue, is it? You said you were having problems, so I'm not sure where the out of the blue thing happened, but that's not what we're here about. being put on work probation in May 2022. Was soon after let go due to performance. Okay, I think what you're trying to say is was soon after let go due to performance. Although I was the highest on my team, don't really know what that means. Highest what? Highest paid or highest earner, highest salesperson? We don't know what that means, highest. Became extremely depressed, applied to 1,000+ jobs and nothing. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is a side note. I know we shouldn't go off into this tangent, but 1,000+ jobs is insane. Like, and I get it. Sometimes you're just like, yo, I just need to make a buck. But to apply, one, I don't really believe most people apply to 1,000 jobs and don't get anything. Two, I don't believe anyone should really be applying to 1,000 jobs, because to me, applying to 1,000 jobs kind of means that you don't have any skills, because 1,000 jobs where? You know what I mean? It doesn't really make sense. Like, if you're in a field or a career, a real field or a career, I don't really see how you could possibly apply for 1,000 jobs unless you're just applying for anything. And wait, back to that. And if you're applying for just anything, that means you're probably not taking as much time with each job application to really tailor yourself to even be really considered for that job, because you're just throwing out a resume and just being like, yeah, I did this. I used to work at McDonald's, but now I want to work at Xerox or something. And they're just like, but this doesn't match. Show me what you did at your former employer that has anything to do with what we do here. Like, were you in charge of organizing? Were you doing that? Highlight yourself and match it to the things that we're looking for. Don't just send a resume. That's what a lot of people do, and I don't think they really understand why it's so hard to get a job sometimes, even if you're applying to 1,000+ jobs, is that quantity doesn't mean that your resume is actually of quality. But let's move on. Booked the trip months before, June 2022. So you booked the trip months before. How many months before? We don't really know, but we know you just got a job in January. And you were fired in May. So we're talking about 4 or 5 months, and you booked the trip. But okay, whatever. She went on the trip that she already booked months before. Couldn't afford my home anymore, but was approved for rental assistance in August. So she couldn't afford the $1,665 apartment that she lived in, but she was approved for rental assistance, and she was able to get assistance in August. No job responses, stressing myself out, wanting to pay my bills and my parents. November 2022. I guess she also got help from her parents in order to pay her rent while she was looking for a new job. Started doing Instacart in January 2023. Now we're skipping months ahead. So from November to January, she didn't find anything, and she basically had to start doing Instacart, which I'm pretty sure doesn't make 60 grand. So she is not able to continue on that same lifestyle that she had pushed herself to be accustomed to. Praying over and over for a sign and to finding my calling in January 2023. Don't really know what that means. That's somebody's spiritual thing that they do. Okay, it's just one of those things where it just, to me, I read that as, so I don't have a plan. It's January 2023. I don't got a plan. I'm going to wait for a plan to fall on my head. God said to let go what doesn't serve you. Okay, again, another spiritual thing. So February 2023, she has to move out of the apartment. And that's basically when we see the video where she explains to us that you should not get new fancy things to match your lifestyle. And I think her story pretty much exemplifies the pinnacle of lifestyle creep. Unfortunately, her life changed dramatically within an entire year. Like, got a job in January, got an apartment in February, and by 1 year later, next February, neither of those things existed in her life anymore. And it's mainly, if we're being 100% honest, it's mainly because she allowed lifestyle creep to walk into her life and wreak havoc. So this is something that I want people to think about and avoid. Here at the Drunk Capitalist channel, we're talking about ways that we could be financially literate, financially secure, make better decisions, actually grow and be more responsible. And yeah, man, this is something that could happen. So I wish everyone the best out here. It's not cool. And honestly, she might have to move in with her parents. I saw another video about her situation. She did say that she previously lived with her parents, and when she did get the job, that's when she moved out. Again, you need to have a bigger plan than just that. It can't be the day I get a job is the day I'm going to buy a car and a house and everything, and not really put, spread my apples around and put different eggs in different baskets, and actually build something and build a real solid foundation before I, jump out over the hill and just be like, I'm the king of the world, I could do anything. Like, nah, you gotta like actually reel yourself in and really tame your desires for all the fancy shiny things that you want, and actually have some self-control and control your finances, so that you don't end up in a situation like that where you get everything you want, but then you lose it just as fast because you actually don't even have the foundation to even handle it. But that's all I got for you guys for this video. Thank you guys for watching. It is a Drunk Capitalist. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.